Okay. So, you don't need erasers right now, but way to be forward thinkers.
Yeah.
All right. So here's how this is going to work. You are working mostly today during this activity with your shoulder person. That's the person whose shoulder you're attached to. Now, my group of 3, you guys actually work as a tripod. You're working with your shoulder partner. You can put your purse up. So you guys are actually kind of a tripod because you'll just be together.
I was going to work with my imaginary.
No. Yeah. Now, listen. You probably want to know what we're doing. All right, now. So what we're going to do is I'm going to give you a topic. Okay, I'm going to give you some topic. What you're going to do is when I give you the topic, if you're holding the slate board, you write down something you know about that topic. You then pass the slate board to the person, your shoulder partner. Okay? Tristan, I will be your shoulder partner, so you don't have to look at it. So you pass it to your person next to your shoulder partner. Then they write down something they know about it. And then they pass it back to you. And you guys are going to go back and forth like this for 1 minute. And you want to come up with as many ideas as you can between the two of you for 1 minute. Yes, ma'am? No. It's what's in your noggin. All right. Now, you cannot write what the other person wrote. So if they write something that you're like, oh, that was mine. Then, so let's talk about appropriate ways to handle that. That was mine is not an appropriate way to handle it. You can go, oh, that was really good. Of course it was. You were thinking of it. That's why it's brilliant. If they are stuck, like they get to them and they're like, I can't get the thing all out. You can coach them. You can do a tip. But the worst thing in the world to do is go, hurry up. Because come on, if somebody comes in and puts pressure on you like that, can you come up with an answer off the top of your head? No. No. I mean, if Dr. Sheldon came in and said, Miss Smith, how many kids were here first period? I would go, more than 4. Your brain doesn't work like that sometimes. So it's really stressful if the person next to you is being really demanding like that. So even if you're getting like, come on, write something, give them a tip. And if they can't come up with anything that first time, it's okay to say, I can't come up with anything. Can you write one? Give them one out. You can always make one mistake, right? Give them one out because the next time they're not coming up with one, give them a little bit more help. Give them another good tip, okay? Especially if you got a gajillion ideas. All right. So the first topic is going to be. And we're going to have 1 minute. Ready? Disneyland. So back and forth, everything you can think about Disneyland. Yep, start. 1 minute starting now. Then anything you know that you might have heard about. Yeah. Now what you're going to do is you and your partners across are now going to create a bigger list. So start with the people that are closest to this side of the room. Okay, so in this case it would be McKenna and Yari. So Yari, have the slate board in front of you. Okay. So how this works is this. You ready? So it would be her. It's going to go to you in a minute. Don't worry. Okay, so what will happen is McKenna would say Space Mountain. Now, because that's the first thing on her list. Now, if Yari and Tate have Space Mountain on their list, she puts a check mark by it. If she doesn't have Space Mountain on her list, she adds it. Then she tells her first one to McKenna. So, rides. If McKenna has rides on her list, then she puts a check mark. If she doesn't have it, then she adds it. Then they pass their boards to the people over there. They do the same thing. You're going to go back and forth until you can create you both have pretty much the same list, right? Okay, let's start that. And Tristan, you're by yourself, so I think you got it though. Yes. Can we use in the middle? Of course we can use it in the middle. Of course you can use it in the middle. You ready? Go.
Oh, it's not food. Fun.
So I thought we had a race.
Oh, no, you're fine. Okay, it's okay. Don't panic. All right. Each person in your group is going to have a chance to share with me. So don't be like, oh man, how do you share? Because I'm going to ask everybody. So let's start with all of the number 2s. If all my number 2s can stand up. All my number 2s. All right. I need everybody to be quiet so I can hear my number 2s. All right, Delaney, what's the first thing on you guys' list?
Fun.
Fun. And Yari.
Ride.
Right. And Hannah.
Like was formed for Walt Disney's.
Okay. Can I just put Walt Disney characters? Yes, ma'am. And Hannah. Give me one of them. Resorts.
Ooh, I should have thought of that.
Number 4s. I want to hear from a number 4. Then give it to me. My number 1 can be number 4 also. Okay, Hanukkah.
Mickey Mouse.
Mickey Mouse.
That's what I had.
And Mason. Goofy.
Oh, my favorite. Actually, that's my favorite.
And Ian.
Cinderella.
Cinderella. And Tristan.
Theater.
Theater. Okay, let me hear from my number 3s. Tate.
We play Donald Duck.
Donald Duck. And Bailey. Popcorn. Now, if we wanted to be specific to Tokyo, we would put flavored popcorn, huh?
I've never had that popcorn.
Okay. Oh, I can't hear. I'm sorry. Alexis.
Rides are fun but sticky.
Ooh, fun rides. Can I put? I'll put sometimes.
Fun rides. I'm in.
Stick.
Fun.
In. And India.
Pluto.
Okay, guys. So everybody's going to get a note card today. So everybody needs a note card. Now, on the note card, you have to, a very specific thing I need you to write on it. On one side, you're going to ask the question, where was I born? But you're not going to use I, you're going to use your name. We call that going in the third person. So on the card, on one side, you're going to write, where was Cat Mintz born? Cat Mintz is me. You're not Cat Mintz, Adriano. Don't put Cat Mintz. Okay, I want you to put, where was Adriano born? Okay? Or where was Yari born? Where was McKenna born? Where was Delaney born? Yes, India.
Do we have to put our last name?
You can if you want, but you don't have to.
Okay.
So that goes on one side. Where was, and then your name, born.
Wait, mine?
Your name, Delaney.
Oh.
So you would write, where was Delaney born? Now, don't forget a question mark, because it is a question.
Yeah.
Don't forget the question. Punctuation! Oh!
No, you're acting like my English teacher.
I know, crazy. On the back of the card, put the answer. Now notice I would put Anaheim, California, because that's where I was born. If you can't remember the city, it's okay. If you can only remember the state or the country, that's okay too. Yeah.
What if you were born in an air base?
Then put where is the air base?
What if you in Okinawa?
So then you would put Okinawa. Okay? Yes, ma'am.
Is it bad to hear about like what city you were born in?
It is not bad at all.
Just a million.
Especially when you guys are military kids and you've been to probably a gajillion places by the time you're 5.
This is only my third.
This is like serious? This is like my
Answer! You got it? Hi.
Yes.
All right. So we're going, my beautiful darlings.
Awesome.
You are. Okay, here's how this is going to work. Eyes here. Thank you. So in a minute, I'm going to have you stand up, put your hand up. You're going to walk around and pair up. I'm going to demonstrate what that would look like. Tristan, could you stand up? Okay, so Tristan and I, we both have our hands up, Tristan, and we're walking around. And we see each other, and we see each other. We make eye contact. Look, we've made eye contact. There is an unspoken agreement. We are now going to we're going to give high fives. High five. Hi. Hi. Okay, see, that's how that worked. We greeted each other. This is bad. This is how it worked bad. So go back over, and we're going to go, okay? Now, at this time, though, Hanukkah, I want you to stand up, too. Okay. So, I'm up here. I've got my hand up. You guys have your hands up, too. Okay? I see Tristan first. He sees me. Unspoken contract, right? We're going to give high fives. We're going to give high fives. But there's my friend Hanukkah. Hi. What did I just do?
You just blew him off.
I did. I just blew him off. I just really made him feel bad because we had an unspoken contract. We had an unspoken contract, and I violated that contract because I saw my friend. That's not cool. Okay, that made him feel bad, and then now it's going to make, the Hindus would believe that would give me some bad karma on my soul, and I don't want it. So if you have that, and if you see somebody, and that's who you're heading to, you can't ditch them at the last minute. Also, you can't go like this. Go ahead, Tristan, one more time. You've been so good at this, Tristan. Like you can be better professional. We put our hands up. We see each other, unspoken contact. Hi. Did my body language convey that I wanted to be agreed? No. Did anything about that convey to him that I was excited to be his partner?
No.
No, I'm being a jerk. That's what I'm doing. This whole, let me find anybody that I perceive to be more interesting than Tristan. Fine. No, that's not cool. That is not cool. So, when you greet somebody, once you see them, your unspoken contract, greet them with enthusiasm, be excited. Hey, because they're going to help you out. What they have in their hand helps you. What you have in your hand is going to help them. You need each other. Now, put your hands in the air. You greet each other. You're going to stand up. Now, here's what's going to happen. No, not yet. That's crazy. Okay, Hannah. You can put your hands down. Oh. Thank you. You can put your hands down. Hannah, stand up. Hand up. We see each other. Unspoken contract. Hi.
Hi.
Now this is where it begins. I'm going to ask her a question. Where was Katniss born? Pretend you don't know.
Somewhere.
Okay, I am going to help her. I'm going to give her a tip. She was born near the happiest place on earth.
Wow.
What?
I'm not ready.
Quiet. I was born near the happiest place on earth.
It's on the floor.
Okay.
I'm really drunk.
Okay, so I gave her one tip. I'm going to give her another tip. It is in the Sunshine State.
So it's somewhere in California.
That's it. But she's still not quite getting it. Now look, I can keep giving her hints all day long, but she might still never get it. So it's easier if I just tell her the answer. Tip, tell. Anaheim, California.
Okay.
Now, tip, tell, re-ask. That's where the magic happens. Where was Katniss born?
Anaheim, California.
Excellent. And that's going to happen in real life. In real life, guys, we're going to forget these things. So you know what you do? Just tell them again. Anaheim, California. So where was Katniss born?
Anaheim, California.
Excellent. See, and then I'm going to say excellent. I'm going to give her praise so it makes her feel good about it. Okay. Good job. Now she's going to ask me.
Okay. So, where was Hannah born?
Where was Hannah born? Germany.
No.
Okay, so she didn't give me my first tip.
It is in Ireland.
An island. Hawaii.
No.
Okay, second tip.
It is in Japan.
Oh, in Japan. Oh, wait a minute. Japan's an island. Okay, she gave me 2 tips. Go ahead and tell me.
It was
Okinawa. So now what do you have to do? Tip, tip, tell. Re-ask.
Where was Hannibal?
Okinawa. Okay.
Now what?
Give me some praise. Give me some praise.
Woo!
Yay! And now we trade cards. And I'm going to go off in search of a new partner. She's going to go off in search of a new partner. But instead of having her card, now I have her card. She has my card. Every time you meet somebody different, you're going to get a new card. So, do you think we're ready to try this for real?
Yes.
Hold on, Bailey.
Like, where was Hannah born?
You would say, well, like the first time you go, you're going to say, where was Bailey born? You're always talking about yourself as though it's not you, like it's somebody else, even though we all know it's you. Yeah. And then when you trade, you're going to have somebody else's card. I'm trying to write my card really quick because I forgot to write my own card. Okay.
Maybe you should take it out the door.
No, that makes it more fun.
No, because it's so
Okay. Let me remind you guys, tip, tip. What happens after the first tip? You get another tip. After you have 2 tips, you tell. Then what do you do?
React.
Oh, you guys are smart.
It spells T.
All right, here we go. Hands up. Stand up. Hands up.
Sorry.
And pair up.
Hi.
Okay. Oh, you guys have another special contract? Okay. Okay. Yes. You guys can get arms.
Where was
In cooperative learning structures, I know a lot of us talk about that we use groups in our classrooms. You know, I use cooperative learning. I love cooperative learning. But many of us, I know I was one of them, I didn't know the difference between cooperative learning and book work or group work. I just thought if I had a group of 4 kids, that I had really worked at who was supposed to sit where because I didn't want any conflicts. And then I said, okay, here's a worksheet, y'all do it. I thought in my head that was really cooperative learning. I really did. And then I would get so frustrated because you'd always have the one kid going, I have to do all the work, and the parent phone call that goes with it. I have the one kid who I wasn't seeing any sort of change in what they were supposed to do, what they were doing, and I kept reading that research said cooperative learning, my low kid was supposed to go higher, and he wasn't. And then I was fortunate enough to go to a Kagan workshop, and one of the things I learned was that I did not know what true cooperative learning was, and what I needed to have in that group and in my lessons to help make it cooperative. And those things are pies. And we'll talk a little bit about pies after we do some structures so you kind of have a place to go back to for it. So the first thing I'd like you to do is I'll notice in the classroom, or our library, there are 4 corners. This is corner number 1, corner number 2, corner number 3, corner number 4. All classrooms are kind of different, but if you can set aside 4 different areas, you can do corners in your classroom. I would like you to think about your favorite holiday out of these 4 choices. 4th of July, Easter, Christmas, and Halloween. I want you to think about your favorite holiday out of those 4. Maybe your favorite holiday is Kwanzaa. I don't have a corner for it. I'm sorry. Maybe next time. What I'd like you to do is, if your favorite holiday is Halloween, in just a moment, you're going to get up and you're going to go to corner number 1. There's a picture of Halloween there to help guide you. If your favorite holiday is Easter, you're going to head towards corner number 2. There's a picture to get. If your favorite holiday is 3, I put Christmas, but Christmas is actually number 4. I do apologize. I made my PowerPoint before I put it in my corner. Probably would have looked to that. And then lastly, I believe it's actually 4th of July, not Halloween. I apologize also. That's what the handout was, 4th of July. So our choices are Halloween, Easter, 4th of July, and Christmas. So if you could please stand up and go to your favorite holiday. I will play some traveling music for you. Yeah.
We don't have a favorite holiday.
Fake it.
Fake it. Just pick one.
Just pick
I have
one.
to go to Easter.
There's Halloween is over here, and Easter is over there, 4th of July, and Christmas.
The other ones I don't do.
All right. Good job, guys. I have to come and stop your music. All right, what I'd like you to do is it's within your group that you're at in the corner. I want you to find a partner. I will be your partner, Colleen.
I'll be your partner.
So find a partner. Now, I have a group over here, and this happens. How many of us in our own classrooms, we have odd numbers, because, you know, our administrators never give us perfect, even numbered. We have odd numbers, and so you usually have a trio, or as I like to call them, a trouble. Because that's the three of a couple. It's a trouble. So you three are going to become a trouble. Okay. Now the first thing you should always do whenever you get into a group is you should introduce yourself. Hi, I'm Kat. Nice to meet you. So introduce yourself. Okay. And you're thinking, I know this person. But in your classroom, how many times do you hear in your classroom when your kids go, that girl that sits over there? They don't know each other's name. So constantly make them introduce themselves to each other, because that way they have a connection. That's a really important thing. Now, what you're going to do is partner A is going to tell partner B why that's their favorite holiday. Now, it's not just, I'm not just going to tell you. You actually have to listen, because partner B has to then tell me what I said. They have to paraphrase it back to me. If they have said the right thing, we're going to high five. Woo! And then we're going to switch. And she's going to tell me, and I'm going to repeat back to her. Okay? So, partner A tells B, tells them back what they said, and then you switch. Now, to decide who's going to be, now you guys have been trouble. You guys have to do that 3 ways. So, like, you'll tell her, and then she'll tell you back, and then you'll tell her, and then she'll tell you back, and then you guys can swap it out. All right. The person who's going to go first, partner A, is the person who has the shortest last name. So whoever has the shortest last name is person A.
Long, right?
Mince. I think I'm sure you Okay. I hate to rush a high five, although it brings up a great moment. In that exchange, like my person, Colleen, was telling me so much. I mean, it was really interesting. I was learning a lot of cool stuff. And in your classroom, sometimes you have kids that they have a lot to say. If you have the time to give them a chance to say it, awesome. If you're on a tight schedule, you can put a timer on and say, okay, we're going to do a timed pair share where you only have 30 seconds to get it out. So those kids that do have a lot to say, it really helps them get a little bit more concise. Also, but if you have the time to spend on it, let those kids talk it out. Because the other thing is sometimes those little extra conversations that are going on just because you're waiting, sometimes they're valuable. Sometimes they're not. But a lot of times those are valuable. Those are good social times, because exactly the interaction that they're getting, if they're different partners, that might be the only interaction they're going to get for the rest of the day. Now I'd like you to go back to your seats, please. Thank you so much. I can add an extra element of accountability by doing the following. Dr. Sheldon, your partner was Frank. Why was 4th of July Frank's favorite holiday?
Frank's favorite holiday was because the other 3 he didn't celebrate.
Oh, he just didn't celebrate him, so that was by default.
Correct.
Completely understandable. Miss Lowry, you had a trio. Could you please tell me, out of your partners, which holiday, which one do you kind of attune to? Which one did you feel like you had the most in common with?
We kind of all had the same ideas, really.
Really? And what was that idea?
Kind of with both of them. Beth really loved Christmas because of all the great literature.
Right.
Linda, because she could be sneaky and unwrap all the presents. So I was kind of there for both of them.
Good job. Does anybody have something they really thought was really interesting they want to share with their group? Yes, ma'am.
She is from Wisconsin, and she liked Easter because, this impressed me, because the snow is just melting and the ground is still kind of squishy and the smells that were associated with it. And of course, being from the South, we don't have that problem. So that really impressed me.
I'm impressed.
I got, as a history teacher, I got a little mini history lesson from my partner who told me where Halloween came from, and I had kind of known, but I did not know that it came to America via the Irish, so that was kind of cool. Now, a couple of things that we can notice about that. One, positive interdependence. Was the other person's gain your gain? Like, when you both told something, did you both get something out of it? Could you have done that by yourself? You could have said your idea, but if I had said find somebody else's idea, would have made it a lot more difficult, right? So you wouldn't have had positive interdependence. Also, it wasn't a competition. I wasn't asking you to get the most ideas. You know, who was going to get the most? It wasn't about competition, it was about cooperation. Also, was there an element of individual accountability? Did every person have to go? And was there some sort of public performance? Now, I'm not talking in front of the whole room. You were just talking to one person. That's not scary. Talking to one person, sometimes it is, but for the most part, talking to one person is not scary. Talking to a whole classroom of people, that gets scary. So when we talk about individual accountability and public performance is not always speaking out in front of everybody. It can be just showing what you did to one person sitting next to you. That's your accountability. Equal participation. Did everybody have to have a turn?
Yes.
And, okay, I'm going to be honest. In my own classroom, I do have a kid who every now and then will sit there and go, they take some work, take some coaxing. You usually can get at least one word out of them. Or, if they don't want to participate, make them an island. Make them an island on themselves. Because I promise you, when everybody else is doing something, and that one person is over there, you're going to start joining in after a little bit. And finally, simultaneous interaction. How many of you were actually engaged at any one time? 100%, really. You had 50% were talking, while the other 50 were listening. And since they knew they were going to have to give back, on your piece of paper, there's piece of papers on all of the desks. Everybody should have one. And on the back it says ideas. Before discussing, while you're just in the thinking part, think about our 4 options. Increase the number of times each year that the farmers plant their crops, move down to the river plains and try to grow crops there, abandon farming and return to hunting and gathering, attack neighboring villages and steal their food. Choose your answer, and I want you to write down either 1, 2, 3, 4 on the paper. So choose your answer, think about it and choose your answer, and write down which one you think on your piece of paper. You don't share it with anybody yet, just write down what you think on the piece of paper. Not in order, just which one do you think. You can only choose one. Please go to the corner that represents your answer. 1, 2, 3, or 4.
We have to take a paper.
Yes, take your paper.
Oh.
You don't have to take your pencil, just take your paper. Cooperative learning structures are content-free, and repeatable. Their cooperative learning structures are content-free, they're repeatable. So that content, we use social studies because that's my content. But we could have very easily used math. I could have put a solution, I could have had 4 solutions up there and then had a number and said, go to which corner you think the correct solution would be, or the correct equation. In science, we could be categorizing things, and I could have invertebrates and vertebrates. I can put a picture on the overhead. Is this an invertebrate or a vertebrate? In just a moment, I'm going to give you the opportunity to kind of discuss what you would use this for, and then share a little bit. And then finally, these are instructional sequences, that organize the interaction of the students. Early on in my teaching career, when I'd have a great lesson, and at the end I was like, yes! And at the end of the next day, I'd do the same lesson, and it would bomb. And I was like, what happened? Why did that happen? And it occurred to me later on that there's a science in education. And the science is these interactions. Those interactions, when they happen by chance, it's magical, it's a wonderful thing. But we can control how they happen. And that's what we need to control. That's what structure do for us. It creates an opportunity. It creates a window for us to create this situation for our students to interact and for content to happen and not. I want you to also notice we did the fun thing first. We did holidays first. We didn't jump right in to content. Content is scary. It is scary to kids. They don't want to fail. I don't want to fail. It's scary. We do fun first. Everybody has a favorite holiday, or it doesn't have to be a holiday. It could be, what is your birth order? It could be just about anything that has nothing to do with content. Start off with that. That gets them hooked. That also teaches them how to do the structure. Because you don't want to be teaching content and teaching a structure. Teach them the structure with something fun that you don't have to teach. You know, I could do one in my class. Which is your favorite land in Disneyland? Frontierland, Adventureland, Fantasyland, Tomorrowland. And even kids who haven't been at Disney will go, I haven't been to Disney. And I'd say, well, what's your favorite character? Pooh Bear. That sounds like Frontierland to me. There they go. Content free first, content later. Also, content free gets them interacting about stuff they know about. They don't have to fail. You can't fail at telling somebody what your favorite holiday is. Okay, so let's take 2 minutes for you to discuss in your groups how you might use this in your classroom. Using corners in your classroom. Take about 2 minutes to discuss with your partner, shoulder partner, person who you're touching shoulders with. And how would you use this in your classroom? You got to tell them which corner they have to go to. Give them time to think. Give them time to write. The writing really helps with the accountability part because it keeps your kids from going, oh, my friend Janie went over there, I must stand by Janie. If they actually have to write it down and they're accountable for what they've written, that's a huge, huge part of accountability. Students then go to their corners. And then you have the pairs discussing with one another what they've written down. I truly believe that by discussion you internalize. Why do we want book club? I'm a part of a book club and I love it because I get to talk about the book. And then I've internalized it and I love it. How many of our students don't have a chance to really talk about what they've learned? I mean, at that moment, they might be full of ideas, but how often do we have to go, okay, let's go on. If we don't give them a chance to discuss it, they're never really internalizing it. They haven't really learned it. In your groups, I'm going to assign each of you a number. It's much easier in my own classroom because from the beginning of the year, the students notice that each desk has a number. If you were sitting in this area right here, this desk right here, so Ms. Lowry, Dr. Sheldon, Ms. Pringle, you were all in seat number 1. This is number 1. Clearly, this is seat number 1. Right across from you is seat number 2. Right next to seat number 2 is seat number 3. And then across from seat number 3 is 4. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4. Now you're like, okay, that seems kind of silly that everyone should have a number, but I'm telling you, it will change your life. Because then you can do things like this. You can say, person number 2. Person number 2. Please get out the toolboxes and give each person a dry erase marker. On the board, I have a question. What was the first full-length Disney animated feature in color? Write your answer privately. Write your answer privately. Don't show the people you're sitting next to. Write your answer privately. The question is, what was the first full-length Disney animated feature in color? And your choices are Snow White, Sleeping Beauty, Little Mermaid, or Peter Pan. Everyone in the group, all of you are going to stand up and share your answers, starting with person number 1, and then person number 2, 3, and 4. You're all going to share your answers, and then you're going to have a chance to discuss your answers to see if you want to change your answer. When everybody in your group has an answer that they would feel comfortable sharing with the whole group, then you all sit down. Okay? Stand, share, discuss, sit.
As my mother said.
You can't share until everyone's standing.
We all stand.
Everyone has to stand.
Oh, I thought we stand.
A couple of things to bring up at this point before we start to share. I had one group that had complete consensus. They all had the same answer. They were like, we got it, they sat. I had another group that after discussion, people chose to change their answers and they sat. I had a third group where they just really weren't going to reach consensus. Now, I could force consensus. I could say you're going to have to come up with consensus. But when it's something for fun, I don't think you can do that because it's an opinion, it's something you're thought, and my goodness, I know that I would fight tooth and nail to the end. When we switch to content, and they actually have something in front of them that they can prove or disprove it, like if you ask them a question about literature and it's right there, then I would ask them to reach consensus before sitting. So, next thing, I would like to have the person in, or all of my number 1 stand up. All my number 1 stand up with their boards. With their boards. Hold them up. I can do a quick check. Snow White, Peter Pan. Thank you. Have a seat. I did that simultaneously. I did a fact check like that. By the way, the real answer is Snow White.